I was going to publish another video today. Video on Claude MCP setup in WordPress site. The full workflow, the shooting, everything tied together. The penultimate episode till now. It's filmed, it's edited, it's ready. But yesterday, Anthropic released something that I cannot let you miss. Especially if you are already on Claude Pro, Max, Team or Enterprise. Because there is a window closing in 11 days that you will regret missing. Anthropic released Claude Fable 5, the first publicly available model from their Mythos-class family. The same family that has been locked behind government clearances and elite partner programs since April because it was too powerful to use without safeguards. As of June 9th, 2026, 2 days ago, it is available to you free on paid plans until June 22nd. After that, usage credits will be required. 11 days, let's make sure you know what you are sitting on. Before telling you everything, let's just see what Anthropic announced on their Twitter page. Let me give you one number before anything else. At Stripe, one of the world's largest financial infrastructure companies, Claude Fable 5 performed a migration across a 50 million line Ruby code base. A task that would have taken a full engineering team more than 2 months to complete by hand. Fable did it in 1 day, in just 24 hours. That is not a benchmark number on a slide. That is a real team, a real code base, a real result. And it is the kind of capability that Anthropic just made available to every pro subscriber for the next 11 days at no additional cost. Fortune favors the prepared. You are watching this video, you are already ahead of most people. This is Best in WP. Let's go. Let me show you the official announcement directly. Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5. Today we are launching Claude Fable 5 class model that we have made safe for general use. Fable 5's capabilities exceed those of any model we have ever made generally available. It is state-of-the-art on nearly all tested benchmarks of AI capability, showing exceptional performance in software engineering, knowledge work, vision, scientific research, and many other areas. The longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5's lead over our other model. That's Anthropic's own language, not marketing, not a journalist paraphrasing. The company describing its own model. And here is the benchmark table. On some benchmarks, Fable 5 scored more than 10% higher than Claude Opus 4.8. And in no category, Opus 4.8 is in the game with Fable 5. Where does Fable 5 sit in the model family? Let me make this clear. This is the hierarchy as you can see. Claude Model 5 hierarchy as of June 2026. Mythos-class, new tier, above everything. Claude Mythos 5 is restricted project classwing only. And Claude Fable 5, which was released recently, is free on Pro until June 22nd. Now, Fable 5 replaces Claude Opus 4.8 as the most capable publicly accessible model, but it sits in a new tier entirely, Mythos-class, that Anthropic has created above the Opus line. Fable 5 is the public version of Mythos, and Mythos, until yesterday, was only accessible to a handful of governments and critical infrastructure companies. To understand what Fable 5 is, you need to understand what Mythos-class means, because this is not just a better Claude, it is a different category of capability. You can clearly see there are two siblings, Claude Fable 5, the public model, available via the API, the Claude apps, and Amazon Bedrock. Claude Mythos 5, the same underlying model with safeguards lifted, available only in a limited program called Project Glasswing for infrastructure providers and vetted cybersecurity researchers. Same underlying model, two versions. Fable 5 with safety classifiers active for everyone. Mythos 5 with the classifiers lifted in specific areas for vetted cybersecurity researchers and government infrastructure partners. The reason for the split? Mythos was initially limited to a handful of partners due to cybersecurity concerns. The model demonstrated exceptional ability to autonomously discover and chain zero-day exploits across major operating systems and browsers. Let me say that again. The underlying model can autonomously discover and chain zero-day exploits. That is why it was restricted. That is why Anthropic ran over 1,000 hours of external red teaming before releasing Fable 5 publicly. Internally, Anthropic ran an external bug bounty that produced no universal jailbreaks in over 1,000 hours of testing. The model that passed the test with its safety classifiers active is what you now have access to. With great power comes great responsibility. Anthropic took that seriously before releasing this model. Now it is yours, with the guardrails intact. Why now? Why release the most powerful model they have ever made publicly available just days after publicly warning that API is advancing too fast? The tension here is real and worth acknowledging. Fable's launch comes as Anthropic prepares to enter the public markets. It also follows the AI firm's plea urging major global AI labs to establish a coordinated brake pedal on frontier AI development. Anthropic warned that systems are advancing so rapidly that they may soon achieve recursive self-improvement, autonomously improving themselves without human intervention. A company that publicly warns about the dangers of frontier AI releasing the most capable publicly available model in the world in the same week, that is a contradiction that deserves honest discussion. Their answer to that contradiction, the safeguards, queries on some topics will instead receive a response from Claude Opus 4.8. These safeguards will sometimes catch harmless requests, though they trigger on average in less than 5% of the sessions. So practically speaking, for 95% of what you do, Fable 5 answers. For the 5% that touches cybersecurity, biology, chemistry, or model distillation, Opus 4.8 answers instead. You will notice this occasionally. You will not be able to override it. And for the purposes of everything we cover in this course and this channel, you will essentially never hit it. Anthropic basically বলছে আমরা জানি আমরা পাওয়ারফুল জিনিস বানাইছি কিন্তু আমরা কনফিডেন্ট যে সেফটি মেজার যদি ঠিক থাকে তাহলে সবকিছু ঠিক থাকবে। কনফিডেন্টটা কি জাস্টিফাইড কিনা সেটা জানার জন্য আসলে কিছু ইউজ কেস দেখা ছাড়া আর ওয়েট করা ছাড়া আর কোনো উপায় নেই। Now, if you are a pro user, then you can access Fable 5 by selecting the model from here. Here you can see Fable 5 included until June 22nd for your toughest challenges. Fable is the most capable model and draws down users 2 times faster than Opus. Let me show you what this actually feels like in practice. Before the demo, the Stripe story, because it is the most compelling real-world proof point from the announcement. During early testing, Stripe reported that Fable 5 compressed months of engineering into days. In a 50 million line Ruby code base, the model performed a code base wide migration in a day that would otherwise have taken a whole team over 2 months by hand. Let me give you a coding task that demonstrates the quality shift from Opus 4.8 to Fable 5. So basically, I have a prompt ready to test it, and this prompt is all about I have a Python code base that processes YouTube analytics data. The current architecture uses a single monolithic function that does everything: reads CSV files, plays the data, runs calculation, and outputs reports. The function is 400 lines long and is impossible to test in isolation. I basically told Claude to think through this as a senior engineer who has done this kind of refactor dozens of times. Be specific about what goes wrong, not just what should go right. And let's hit send. Let's see what Fable 5 is giving us. Let's put a bit. Oh yeah, architecture design document for refactoring the monolithic YouTube analytics pipeline. It's working in the backend. Let's see. So Fable 5 actually gave us a detailed answer that Opus 4.8 never gave us in a single prompt. It gave us target architecture, interface specifications, then the test plan. The 3 failure modes I have actually watched happen. So the failure mode 1. Here's the thing. A previous cloud model would give you generic failure modes. Make sure you test thoroughly. Fable 5 gives you specific failure modes based on the actual pattern of this type of refactor. The longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5's lead over other models. This response is longer and more complex than a simple question. Let's take another prompt, which is about I'm a non-financial professional reviewing a potential investment in a YouTube content business. The business has the following characteristics, and there are all the characteristics that I mentioned, like revenue, cost structure, growth rate, asset base, monetization, diversification risk, platform risk. And I asked Fable, the seller is asking for $75,000 for the business, approximately 18 times monthly revenue. Evaluate this as a senior M&A analyst would. What the 18 times multiple implies about expected future performance. Show you reasoning, not just conclusion. And let's see what Fable is giving us. So we were actually asking about the multiple analysis. Fable 5 should work through the implied growth assumption, the 3 specific risks. They should be specific to this business, not generic, and the honest recommendation with a conditional. It's scrutinizing revenue concentration and creator dependency risks. There we go. A good analyst starts by being suspicious of the framing. So let me do that first. 18 times monthly revenue is the seller's framing, and it's doing a lot of work to make this look cheap. Reframe the same numbers and the picture changes considerably. The entire highest risk factors in this specific business. Risk 1 was the revenue may not be transferable at all, and risk 2 the affiliate accounts themselves. Risk 3 is the revenue is probably concentrated in 3 videos. Due diligence I would recur before any recommendation. Read only access to the affiliate dashboards, fair value range and reasoning, recommendation that's more specific than whatever the other model was giving. Opus 4.8 gave honestly pure answers, but Fable 5 is something else. It's giving the detailed answer that than you can ever imagine. It actually works the way that you want it to be. So it makes you feel like that you are talking with someone in person, and that's the power of Fable 5. On Habeas Finance benchmark for senior level reasoning, Fable 5 has the highest score of any model, with substantial gains in document-based reasoning, chart and table interpretation, and problem solving. What you are seeing is that senior level reasoning benchmark in practice on a real analytical question about a real business structure. So I have the screenshot of WP Beginner's homepage, the full complete page, and let's see what Fable can do with it. I have the prompt ready here, so let's just copy the prompt and give it to Fable and see what it shows us. So what I say, actually, like, analyze this screenshot completely, tell me what this page is about, extract every piece of specific data and or text visible, what is most important insight or observation a professional would draw from this image, what is one thing visible in this screenshot that would normally be missed on a quick scan. Let's wait and see what Fable is giving us. It's already done. What the page is about, this is the WP Beginner homepage, the largest free WordPress resource site for beginners owned by Sitebook. Is awesome motive. Its apparent purpose is layered. On the surface, it's an educational hub, learn the ins and outs of WordPress from the real world, but structurally, it's an email capture and affiliate monetization machine. So Fable 5 is doing its job insanely. Every specific data point visible, trust or scale metrics, 25 million websites using their plugin, 60 plus years of WordPress experience, 3,000 plus WordPress tutorials by experts, navigation. There are all the navigations that WP Beginner has: starting a blog, WordPress SEO, WordPress performance, WordPress errors, WordPress security, building an online store, CTA button, get our free WordPress training with full name plus email address. This has actually given me everything that WP Beginner is all about. Like, if I want to research what WP Beginner is, this is just complete research that might gonna take me like a couple of days or even more to know everything about the most important professional site. WP Beginner doesn't primarily review the market, it reviews its own portfolio. Look at the chain. The featured WordPress solutions are all automotive products. The review board is composed of executives of those same products. The testimonials come from industry friends, and the footer openly lists 16 owned brands. For you specifically, this is the strategic fork in the road for Western WP. WP Beginner's moat is that it stopped being a media business and became a product company with a media arm. First three components, a thing a quick scan would miss. The fine print at the very bottom of the footer. WP Beginner is not endorsed or owned by or affiliated with the WordPress Foundation. Alongside the note that the WordPress trademark belongs to the foundation and names are used for identification purposes. This is what actually vision is about. Fable 5, the new state-of-the-art model for tasks involving vision. It can extract precise numbers from detailed scientific figures and can perform complex vision-based tasks that, like rebuilding a web app's source code from screenshots alone. And the Pokemon detail, which I have to mention because it's genuinely remarkable. Previous cloud models struggled to play Pokemon Fire Red even with harnesses that gave them additional helpful tools, but Fable 5 beat Fire Red with a minimal vision-only harness. Just raw game screenshots, no maps, no navigation aids, no extra game state information. It beat the game. Now let's check the long context and memory. Fable 5 stays focused across millions of tokens in long-running tasks and improves its outputs using its own nodes. When tested with the deck-building games, Slay the Spire, giving Fable 5 access to persistent file-based memory, improved its performance 3 times more than for Opus 4.8. What that means in practice, Fable 5 doesn't drift. It doesn't forget what you established at the beginning of a long conversation by the time you reach the end of it. It holds context with a consistency that previous models didn't. Let's just check that out. So let's give another long context prompt. This context has actually 4 layers. Let's give it to Fable 5 and let's see what it gives us. As you can see, there are 4 contexts. One is for business, one is for audience. This prompt is all about a YouTube channel which has 800 subscribers, publishing a Claude AI tutorial course with 14 of 18 videos live. Revenue is approximately $200 per month from affiliate links. So I just asked about everything about the business, the audience, the competitive position, the resources. Now, using all 4 context layers without losing any of them, answer this: what is the single most important strategic decision Digital Stack Pro should make in the next 30 days, given that Fable 5 is now available and represents the capability step change in what the channel can demonstrate? How does Fable 5's availability change the content strategy versus what it would have been with only Opus 4.8? Let's see. Synthesized 4 context layers to identify pivoting toward Fable 5 as paramount strategic goal. It's done. The single decision: in the next 30 days, Digital Stack Pro should stop being a Cloud course channel and become the first complete Fable 5 native course on YouTube, which means interrupting the publishing calendar this week and finishing videos 15 to 8 on Fable 5 instead of the model they were scripted for. Why this decision? Layer by layer. Layer 4 sets the clock, and the clock is brutal. Fable 5 is free until June 22nd. That's 11 days from today. Layer 3 explains why this window matters more for you than for anyone else. Layer 2 tells you what to make for whom. The release maps almost perfectly onto your 3 segments. Non-technical professionals want what can Fable 5 do for me, shown, not told. Layer 1 is the constraint that disciplines all of the above. 15 to 20 hours a week, 1%, 14 of 18 videos already live, so the answer cannot be make 6 new videos and finish the course and record old content. The honest hour budget for the next 30 days looks like this. One fast launch, reaction or demo video. In the next 3-4 days, this is the discovery play. How Fable 5 changes the strategy versus an Opus 4.8 only was. This is the most important thing. Let's go through it. This is the part worth being precise about because the content doesn't change as much as the logic does. With only Opus 4.8 available, the correct strategy was the one you were already executing. 3 concrete inversions. First, speed temporarily outranks polish. For roughly the next 3 weeks, a good enough video today beats a great video next Tuesday. So it actually gave me a detailed answer. The quality test here is coherence across all 4 layers simultaneously. If the response references the subscriber count, the competitive window, the resource constraints, and the Fable 5 implications together, that is the long context quality working as claimed. And this gave me exactly what I need. Now let's check the autonomous multi-step reasoning, Fable 5's biggest upgrade over previous models. Claude Fable 5 introduces the 5th model generation for your most ambitious work. Let's give it the last prompt to check how well it performed. This is about I want you to work through a genuinely complex multi-step planning problem autonomously without me prompting each step to the full chain yourself. The problem is that Best in WP has 12 days of free Fable 5 access. After that, Fable 5 cost credits beyond the pro subscription. The channel has 7 videos live published. The tasks are: step 1, calculate how many hours are realistically available over the next 12 days. Inventory the 4 remaining videos and estimate the production time for each. Identify which specific task in video production benefit most. Design a 12-day sprint plan and identify the single highest value use of Fable 5. And the last one is produce a 1-page 12-day action plan that I can print and put onto my desk. So let's see. It's actually given me the answer. Real hours available 12 days from today, runs through Monday, June, which not coincidentally watches the free window end date. That's 1.7 weeks into 15 to 20 hours per week, a theoretical 26 to 34 hours. The 4 videos and their true cost. So it has actually given me a whole breakdown of everything, like that's 21.5 hours of production against a 24 hours allocation, leaving 2.5 hours for everything in steps 4-5 tie. And voila, this is the 12-day Fable 5 sprint. Actually the sprint which we can download and we can use as PDF. The model trials, so it has phase day 1, day 3, day 7, day 10 to 12. It has everything. 6 steps completed in sequence without me prompting each one. And the 1-pager ready to act on for the next 12 days. That is Fable 5's autonomous reasoning in practice. Not a single answer to a single question. A full decision chain, completed, packaged, actionable. ভাই এই ভিডিওটা বানানোর সাথে সাথে আমি নিজের প্ল্যানও বানাই ফেলছি। Claude Fable 5 শুধু আমার ডেমো দেয় নাই, আমার পরের 12 দিনের স্কেডিউলও রেডি করে দিছে। সো এইটা আসলে ইনসেইন। Opus 4.8 দিয়েও এই জিনিস আমরা আগে চিন্তা করতে পারি নাই, অ্যাটলিস্ট আমি তো পারিই নাই। So you got my point. Now you have seen the demos. Let me give you the honest comparison. What is genuinely better in Fable 5? Software engineering tasks. Fable 5 scored highest on Cognition's frontier code evaluation among frontier models, even at medium effort. For coding work, especially complex, long-running, production quality coding, this is real and significant upgrade. Knowledge work reasoning. On heaviest finance benchmark, Fable 5 has the highest score of any model, with substantial gains in document-based reasoning, chart and table interpretation, and problem solving. Long context coherence. Fable 5 holds context and stays focused over much longer task chains than previous models. This matters for agentic work, for complex analysis, for multi-day projects. Vision tasks. It can perform complex vision-based tasks like rebuilding a web app's source code from screenshots alone. What is the same or limited? Sensitive cybersecurity, biology, chemistry, and model distillation requests trigger fallback to Claude Opus 4.8. For the things covered in this course, content creation, analysis, coding, research, workflow automation, you will essentially never hit this limit. Pricing after June 22nd, $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens. A 2-fold increase compared to Opus 4.8. More expensive than Opus. Less than half the price of Claude Mythos preview. Use it thoughtfully on high leverage tasks. Use Sonnet for everyday work. Practically speaking, what should you do with these 11 days? Your first priority should be your most complex cloud code projects. If you have been sitting on a code-based refactor, a complex build, a debugging problem that has resisted previous models, run it with Fable 5 now. The longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5's lead over other models. Second priority should be your most important research or analysis. Deep research with Fable 5's reasoning, financial analysis, strategic decisions, document analysis across large complex corpora, run this now. Your third priority should be vision tasks you have been deferring. Screenshots you want analyzed, charts you want extracted, interface designs you want revealed from visual preferences. Fable 5's vision capability is categorically better. Use it. Fourth priority can be long context agentic tasks, multi-step planning, long document synthesis, anything that has required you to break a task into similar pieces because previous models drifted. Try running the full thing with Fable 5 in one batch. The model is right here, selected and free for every pro user until June 22nd. Strike while the iron is hot. 5 demos, software engineering, financial reasoning, vision, long context coherence, and autonomous multi-step planning. And as Anthropic itself said, the longer and more complex the task, the larger Fable 5's lead. You have complex tasks, you have 11 days. Go use it. See you in the next one.